It's way too
Dude,
short for your
I
the
got
ultimate.
Enchanted
Yeah.
Talisman. Okay, fleeting time.
Fleeting
I
time
got
on the Helper.
Oracle.
Okay, I
Yeah,
guess that
everything.
works. Yeah. Okay, I
Right? You
guess
know.
that helps on your cooldown. But yeah, I was also pretty surprised. Let's see what kind of adjustments that the teams will do here in the second round. And Eterna, I think it's Smart Omega here that is going to be on the blue side this time. So that means they have the first pick here for the second game.
This is actually a very interesting topic. I've talked about it with Reptar in MPLID in the grand finals about this blue side, red side meta, and so far a lot
Ooh.
of teams have actually found success on blue side. So
Ooh.
we're gonna see if that actually pays any dividends to both of these teams, because so far Vitality was able to get the dub on blue side. We'll see what happens when they are on the red side. With the bans coming through, with the Luoyi, Moskov, and the Claude, and we also have the Harith as well as the next two bands coming through with the Chip as well as the Angela. So the main difference here is Angela has been taken out. So
Oh, yeah.
respect by their own team.
Yeah, Vitality's like we're the only teams that will be able to use that this time. I mean, for Smart Omega, it's both Amore and Mirai that can really rock this hero. Right now, this is the biggest question that I have every time you're on the blue side. Yes, you do have the first pick, but there's so many heroes that are open. You got the Matilda was banned away. And speaking of that, wow, just like that, Smart Omega will lock it in. I was actually thinking that they might go for a Shinoa here because that's what they actually do sometimes when they're on the blue side. They lock in a carry, they lock in a Roger, but yeah, Matilda, I would say this is a good start.
All right, Matilda being taken out. Matilda Airlines, as what people call it. We'll see how they're going to pair it up, because usually when we see the Matilda, we see heroes like the Barats that are kind of low mobility, kind of work their way in that combination with the Matilda. But let's see the response from Team Vitality. First and foremost, all right, with the Arlet ban in the first game, in the first phase, we actually do see the Arlet coming through as well as the Fredrin. But we do need to note that both of these heroes are flex, Burikim.
I think they're kind of baiting Smart Omega here to take the Valentina, right? Like, there's a lot of good ultimates on their side. Take the Valentina. But I would say, like, Amor is just really good with the Valentina, but at the same time, you kind of need that burst damage, right? These are just really two tanky heroes that you need to burst down before they can even head into the team fight. And now, they pick up a Yuzhong here for not Ayanami, something that I don't see so often from her. Like, usually she goes for heroes like Barats, like the Terizla, so it's a very early pickup onto the XP lane. They might actually go for an Amor here, or maybe a Shinoa hero before all of the gold laners are out. It is a Matilda Vixana combination here from Smart Omega. I would say this is pretty new, Eterna. I don't really see this kind of draft from them, but I guess it really depends on who they're up against.
Well, what we can say is that this is really fast wave clear, right? With the Vexana and the Matilda in the mid lane. At the moment, they do have mid prio. But we'll see. Minotaur going to be picked up by Team Vitality. So this is actually a very interesting combo, right? Because with Smart Omega Empress, it looks like they want to go for the dive with the Matilda, who can dive in with a Circling Eagle. We have the Yuzong with a Black Dragon form. And the Minotaur is so good at counter engage, and that's what makes the Minotaur so expensive. It's not just initiation CC, which kind of lacks, honestly, for the Minotaur, but the counter engage potential that now Team Vitality possesses.
You know what, Eterna? I have to disagree with you on that. I don't think Minotaur is that expensive in the game. I mean, it's like 15,000 gold, so it's pretty easy to take it. And one of the heroes that you can actually buy very early on. But you know what I'm really worried about too here about Vitality is they got, earlier on they had just one CC in the form of Cine that had the Terizla, and now they have loads of it. Like, you got the Arlot, you got the Fredrin, and you got the Minotaur. I'm not even sure like what Omega can do here, right? Like, usually you'd counter these types of heroes with a Diggy, but I'm pretty sure they have something in mind. Maybe go for high burst heroes for Keishi and Shinoa here. So maybe like a carry would still be an option here for Omega.
Definitely. Or another option is Purify, right? Go for heroes in the gold lane that can actually opt for the Purify. Don't go for, let's say, like the Beatrix who can't go for the Purify, they need the Flicker. So that carry option is definitely still up for grabs for Smart Omega to utilize. But in the second ban of the phases, second phase of the bans, we have the Baxia being taken out as well as the Faramis. So this is already very interesting earlier on for Smart Omega.
Oh, I think it's a smart ban coming out from them. I mean, if they put up the
The following
Fire Mist as
stars
well for the side
broadcasting
of
your team
Vitality,
is
that's going to be a
ending.
lot of extended team fights. And of course, the Novaria that has so many bodyguards here, if you think about it, right? Like, it's going to be hard to reach her, especially it's only going to be the Yuzhong here that has the access to the back line. Now, Vitality has the first pick here. Will they go for the Claude? That's really great to go up against the Matilda as well. A comfort pick for Shell
Your
and
team is
something to
ending.
deny Smart Omega from picking up that type of hero that can also burst down the tank here. So they actually opted to go for the Valentina here for
Let's
Vitality.
play together.
Valentina being picked up. It looks like they were trying to put Smart Omega, Empress, no, Team Vitality to the test, right? Because so far, Cine has only picked up the Novaria, Angela, and Vexana in the latest tournament. So with Angela being banned out, and then Smart Omega Empress picks up the Vexana for themselves. Novaria banned out in the second phase. We'll see how well Cine will do on the Valentina. But Smart
Wait.
Omega Empress, they picked
Yeah.
up
The
a
Chang'e?
Chang'e. We haven't seen a Chang'e
Okay.
in so long in
It's
like
a
the
gold
professional
lane.
leagues. But
Okay,
it looks
that's
like it might be a gold lane. You're right.
yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if this was actually the thing. I was gonna ask you, like, are you seeing what I'm seeing here? It's a Chang'e. So I thought it was like a misclick from their side, but it actually seems to be the right pick for Smart Omega, right? They locked this in. Great amount of wave clear, great early game, but I'm not so sure if this is exactly the best answer to like the three tanky heroes that Vitality has. Not to mention the Claude that Chels loves so much is still here to pick up. So I'm not so sure if this is going to be. I mean, it's a surprise. I would say for
There's a shiny new
most of us,
sheriff
right?
in
But at the
town.
same time, you know what? Vitality has their own surprises also up their sleeves. They pick up the Clint. What do you think about this matchup, Eternal? Clint and the Chang'e on the gold lane.
This is something that I have not seen, I think, in my entire career.
Wow, that's how
Chang'e
long.
versus the Clint. Clint is currently not in the meta, Burger Kim. I haven't seen the Clint in the Indonesian Professional League. I'm not really sure about other regions, but I do know that Clint's early game is something that can be kind of utilized. But against the Chang'e, I'm not really sure how this is gonna go, honestly.
Yeah, I mean you can poke up against the Chang'e early on, right? Like with your first skill. But at the same time, it kind of makes me wonder, right? Like what do these two teams have in mind right now? Like both of them actually, the Claude was open, the Roger was also open. All of these meta heroes are open, but you know what? Vitality and Smart Omega, they're just like, okay, you know what? It doesn't matter. We don't want the same heroes. We want to pick up something new here in possibly the last game of Vitality, or perhaps we might actually just see Smart Omega take in this game and open up a game number 3. I mean, this is a very interesting lineup, I would say. Rest of the composition here from both sides are pretty standard, but it's only going to be up to the gold lane. That is a little bit different this time.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get you into the Land of Dawn for game number 2 in this best of 3 series. Team Vitality going head-to-head against Smart Omega Empress for game number 2. Which way will it sway? Will Smart Omega Empress be able to force a game number 3? Or can Team Vitality go for a clean sweep? We can already see some damage being actually placed onto Cine in the early stage of the game. And we talked about mid-game prio, right? The mid trio with Murray on the Matilda, with Amor on the Vexana. That clear speed is going to be quick. And we can actually see that coming through. But Cine on the Valentina has a lot of aggression. So the trade in damage is definitely going to be more visible in game number 2 than it was in game number 1.
You know what, Eterna? They actually flashed in the emblem pickup here by both sides, and pretty interesting to me is that Shinoa is rocking a mage emblem that has a weakness finder. Am I right? That's a weakness finder on the Chang'e,
That is a
right?
weakness finder. But wait a second, in the top side.
Yep. Narayanami, a little bit too deep there. I think he's going to be able to get taken down here by Pipals. Gets the Appraiser's Rat onto Keishi. Nice attempt on the XP lane, though. And Team Vitality off to a good start this time for game number 2.
It's great setup for the turtle, which is exactly what they're going for here. This 1v1 trade right in the gold lane.
Yeah.
What we were so curious about is the weakness finder, right? That basic attack that is utilized by the Chang'e can actually be used to slow down in that 1v1. But wait a second.
Yep, you got a Daytona's welcome here. It is going to be Keishi picking up the first turtle of the game once again. But now Smart Omega, they're able to chunk down the members of Vitality real low. They're going to be able to heal up and back away as Smart Omega will be able to take in that first turtle. And looking at how this is being played here, Eterna, look at the gold lane. Like, Shinoa is actually able to cause Shells to actually back away. So I think she missed like a gold card or two here.
Yeah, and that's going to be a problem, right? The range, the early game damage that the Shinoa can have, the ease with the shielding as well. And we love our producers, right? We love our producers. Yeah, they actually gave us information. The Chang'e Shinoa utilized Swift, Bargain Hunter, and Weakness Finder. So what we can gather from that is the fact that Shinoa, Smart Omega Empress, they're really banking on this early game, right? With the Bargain Hunter to be able to get those items a lot quicker. But that's where it ends, right? The early game, the mid game, perhaps up until that point, because later on, in terms of siege potential, it's going to be very difficult for Smart Omega Empress.
Even not Ayanami here as well on the XP lane. A little bit of a hard time up against the Arlot that kind of gets her contained in that XP lane, not being able to join in as much team fights as before. But looking at this Chang'e of Shinoa, right? Like, it's able to farm up pretty well. And at the same time, I actually thought this was a rank game joke. Like, usually people would say, okay, why don't you, okay, you don't play the gold lane, why not try like a mage gold lane, right? Like a Chang'e that I've seen in MPL Philippines like seasons ago, but not this current patch, right? This is pretty new.
No.
It's good wave clear, and they also buffed up her basic attack. So I think that's what Smart Omega is going for, the heavy basic attacks onto like the Clint here. And for Vitality as well, it's kind of interesting that they picked up this Clint too, knowing that, you know, the Claude was still open, right? They chose to go for a marksman like Clint.
It's, you know, it's the heavens just smiling upon us today, Burger Kim. Right? In game number 1, we had Charizla in the mid lane.
Oh, yeah.
That's far from conventional. In game number 2, we have now Chang'e in the gold lane, and we have a Clint in the gold lane. I don't know which is more absurd, the Chang'e or the Clint, but it makes sense, right? In game number 1, Smart Omega Empress, they saw that one of the main, I would say, risks that they were facing was Shell in the gold lane, right? They couldn't find a way to shut Shell down from the early game, the mid game untouched. They were able to take one kill on her to go in, but even that wasn't a shutdown. And Shell, after she was able to get all her items, she was able to get that Maniac. So that was like that target from game number 1. And so in game number 2, they're like, okay, now we need to figure out a way to bully Shell in the gold lane. And what better way to go for a mage that generally gets that power spike a lot quicker than most gold laners. So the Chang'e comes through, right? And we've been seeing that it actually is working out quite well against Clint, who is quote-unquote quite a low-range gold laner.
Yeah, I mean, looking at how this is being played again by Smart Omega is that they really want to go for the early game pressure, which is something that they did very well in game number 1, and I think it's still pretty much mirrors to game number 2. Like, they're able to take in the turtle, they're able to pressure out Shells, but then again, like, what's really important here is how are they able to kind of make this work up until the late game. And as you can see, Shinoa are they be able to chunk down a lot of the gold plating here on the bottom side. So they should be able to take this tower down to, with no aggression as well coming out from Vitality.
This is perfect just pressure on the gold lane by Smart Omega Empress. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get back into the game here, 4 minutes has elapsed. Smart Omega Empress now leading with a 1k gold lead. The only lane that I would say is being heavily pressured for Smart Omega Empress is that EXP lane, which is what we're seeing right now.
Yep.
Camera shift. Can we see what's going on?
I do see the Black Dragon form and the Circling Eagle. I mean, they're going around in circles right now. So I don't think they went in for the full engage. Okay, Mirai tried to save not Ayanami there right before the turtle. Impeccable timing. And right now, they're going to try to bounce back here onto Fumi Echo, who's already at half HP. There's the heals coming out from Vivian. Keishi, known to be the Retribution Queen, and needs to be zoned out from the turtle. Nice Totus welcome onto Vivian. There goes the Circling Eagle as well. Able to miss out. Fumi Echo's going to be the target, but with all of that being said, Vitality was just doing that to take in the turtle for themselves. Pipals can be able to back away right now. 5 minutes in, and both teams have secured at least one turtle.
That's a 1v1 trade, ladies and gentlemen. Fumi got taken down, but they were still able to get their hands on the turtle. But with this, Smart Omega Empress, they do still have more of the control over the map, right? This EXP lane, that outer turret will fall to the hands of not Ayanami. Meanwhile, in the
Whoa!
bottom lane,
Wow, what was that? Insane amount of damage coming out from the Clint as well as from Cine. And now they might
uh-oh.
actually just get punished here. Flicker out from Cine. But here comes the circling gear from Mirai, able to punish Cine. And now Smart Omega Empress gets in 2 kills, able to protect their gold laner as well. So this is pretty much good for their side. XP lane though, I think they picked up the Yuzong very early on here for Smart Omega. They're kind of anticipating, somebody to take down the backline since Vitality was already picking up a lot of these heavy hitters in the front line. So I think a very early pickup onto the Yuzong, but the matchup wasn't really that great on the XP lane, right? Like Narayanami was so contained. And right now they actually did a switch up of the lane right in the 6-minute mark. But look at the map control so far. It is actually still Smart Omega that has it in the bag.
Yeah, you can even see from the item builds, right? A lot of the members from Smart Omega Empress already has an item over Team Vitality. More actually opted to go for Glowing Wand earlier on instead of the Enchanted Talisman or any other item here, signifying that with so many heavyweight heroes on the side of Team Vitality, the Glowing Wand does have a lot of value against heroes like Pipal on the Fredrin. We have the Vivian as well on the Minotaur. And Cine goes in for the NOD to respect that coming through from Keishi as well as not Ayanami, as well as Shinoa and the shielding.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a heavyweight for the side of Team Vitality, a lot of lightweight actually here for Smart Omega Empress. If you think about it, it's only Keishi and Naria Yanami and Mirai actually fronting for the team. And now Blast Turtle is up. Here comes the Black Dragon form, zoning out Vivals, but Keishi gonna be able. No, it's actually Vivals is gonna be able to steal away that Blast Turtle from the side of Smart Omega. And now it's an all-out brawl here. There goes the Meteor Shower from Shinoa from the backlines. Not enough damage just to take down the front line, and that's just the beauty of it. They get Pipals for the price of none. Still a good trade here for Smart Omega. They might want to pressure out this mid lane though. Team Vitality, backs against the wall. A lot of pokes coming out from the side of Smart Omega, but they're still unable to take that mid lane.
Yeah, 1-for-1 again, right? So exactly the same story when they went in for the neutral objective contest. And honestly, that is one of the values of having a Fredrin on your team, right? The fact that you can utilize and just combo in and use that domino effect with the ult as well as the retribution to get a little bit more of an advantage in that neutral objective contest. And that's exactly what we saw. But again, like you mentioned, Smart Omega Empress going to be able to get a member down, and with this steamroll happening, with the snowball happening, looks like it's going in again.
Yep, it's gonna be Pipals. It's gonna be able to soak up the damage. He's still able to heal up care of Vivian, even with all those tossed out. He's still able to survive. Can you imagine the insane amount of damage? And plus, the Eternal Guard coming out from Amora as well. That was way too much damage coming out from their side. 1,500 for Smart Omega, despite the fact that they've already taken in 2 of the towers from the side of Vitality.
This is the winning condition that Smart Omega Empress need to try and figure out, right? Because with utilizing Shinoa, with utilizing the Chang'e in the gold lane, they have a small window of opportunity in that early towards that mid game. As soon as Radiants are built, as soon as Athenas are being built, Smart Omega Empress, they don't have enough physical damage to be able to contribute in towards these team fights, which Team Vitality has, right? They still have the Clint, despite the Clint being so heavily just brutalized and harassed in the early game.
Yeah,
And that is going to be a big problem, especially Shinoa. Her damage is based on her ult, the Meteor Shower. After that's utilized, if it even gets baited out even before a team fight, what else does Smart Omega Empress have in their arsenal for damage?
Yeah, I mean, the DPS, it might just rely on to Keishi and perhaps not Ayanami, by the way, who's on the top side trying to get in shells right before the turtle take. Shinny is also there. Let's see the cover happening. Actually using in that circling eagle just to get out. But for their side of Vitality, they know what they want, right? Pipal's already working up this first lord of the game for Vitality.
Posturing at the moment. Pipal's level 11. We have Keishi at level 12. So in terms of EXP, Keishi does have a bigger advantage to get this neutral objective. Team Vitality looks like they may want to look for perhaps a pick-off before they go in. But in terms of team fight, they do have a lot of CC that they can utilize to their advantage.
Yep, Fumi Echo as well, trying to look for an angle. You can kind of see Chels as well starting to hurt here. You can see the pokes coming out from the lane. They're just not letting up that mid lane. And right now, Vitality, they're still working on this Lord, forcing someone to focus fire on the mid lane, which is actually going to be Mirai, trying to get in Cine. Nothing just yet, as the Lord is still going to be worked on. 1/4 HP here, Eterna. Let's see if Smart Omega or Vitality will be able to take that in. But look at that. Nice Minoans. Fury just in the nick of time, as Vitality will be able to take in the Lord. The side of Smart Omega right now going in for the clapback. Fumi Echo is going to be the target here, as not Ayanami going to be working on that. But it's not going to be easy to take her down. Takes a whole 2 seconds to take down that Arlot, but at the same time, Vitality as well. They got in some good trades, despite the fact that Fumi Echo was down. Shells was able to get in that mid lane.
But what? How did... Wow, Peoples was a level below and was able to get that retribution. That Minuan Fury went in clutch. That was beautiful timing by Vivian to make sure that Smart Omega Empress did not get their hands on the Lord. And that's exactly it, right? That 1-for-1 trade. You can even say it's a 2-for-1 trade with the fact that Shell was able to get that mid turret. So I would say that that was worth it for Team Vitality. And looking at the Lord advantage so far, 2K, and the Lord is still marching down. I want to see how Team Vitality utilizes Lord as all 3 lanes are pushing.
Yep, Meteor Shower to clear that out. I mean, Shells is starting to hurt at this point. 11 minutes in, got in the items, but she still has to face the wrath of Amore, as well as Shinoa, who has a decent amount of damage right now. And as you can see, Smart Omega, they're still going to force this out. Circling Eagle, out for Mirai. They're not going to commit more as Smart Omega. They know their limits. They're just going to back away for now.
But look at how the gold just instantly shift here in the 12th minute. It was a 2k gold lead for Smart Omega Empress earlier, and it's basically non-existent, right? 600 only, 300 now, right? Team Vitality are so good at taking control of a game that wasn't supposed to be theirs, and that is what I find as one of the loopholes to the composition that Smart Omega Empress actually utilized. But Team Vitality already trading in blows here in the bottom lane.
Yep, now they might just go for the team fight. 2 Circling Eagles. Who's gonna be the next one? It is gonna be Cine. The first one down here, care of Amore. Nice knock up there by Vivian from the Minoan's Fury, but look at not Ayanami gonna go in for Shells. Will she be able to successfully do it? But not enough, as Pipals and Fumi Echo make sure that Shells is alive. Mirai as well.
Flicker?
Not gonna go for more. She does not have the flicker and now might be punished by Pipals right now. Gonna go in for the taunt. Fumi Echo is still alive. Circling Eagle right now available, and it's gonna be able to use it up against her. Again, the same situation. Mirai gonna try to go in for the chase. 1 HP, as Smart Omega says, we're not gonna go for more. We're just gonna back away for now. That was, wow, very, very precise from both sides. Shells was able to escape. Fumi Echo was able to escape. It's not that far of a lead if you think about it, Eterna. It's still from the side of Smart Omega, so I think this next Lord should be the deal breaker for both sides.
That was a clean engage though by Smart Omega Empress, and that's just one of the beauties of having a Matilda, right? The fact that you can utilize the Matilda to weave in and out of these team fights was so beautiful to see. And Smart Omega Empress, honestly, they had the better out of that entire scenario. And now the problem is Shinoa picked up a Holy Crystal, so that's a lot of magic power now given to the hands of Shinoa. So if Team Vitality can't respect that magic damage, it will be a problem in this next upcoming Lord fight, which is what we saw being a problem in the previous team fight as well.
Yep, the positioning here of Vitality is looking really scary. You got 3 heroes on the mid side. Mirai, the one to check in the bush, and here comes the engage onto Chels again. Still not able to take it down, but instead it is going to be Mirai being punished there by Team Vitality. There goes the Appraiser's Rat onto Keishi. Not enough damage yet. Black Dragon form has been used and the Lord has been reset. A miscommunication, I would say, because Mirai, again, if you look at it, like, Chels had a hard time up against Shinoa, but right now she has 2 assists, no deaths just yet, and this is exactly what you want as a marksman, right? Like, even though you get pressured on your lane, as long as you don't have deaths, it should be fine.
It was great cover, honestly, by Team Vitality. but now they're going in for the Lord.
Oh no, Amore as well. They find in the final slash there by Fumi Echo in the nick of time. They also take down Keishi right before the Lord. He was trying to go for the retribution, but it's still going to be Vitality taking it in. 15 minutes in the game. 6-6 is our score here. And Team Vitality now has the gold lead.
That was a 3-4-0 trade. We were talking about teamfight prowess and we were really hyping Smart Omega Empress up. But in the 15th minute of the game, when these items are starting to build up, Team Vitality with their composition were able to get 3 members taken out by Smart Omega Empress. And mind you, this is a Lord marching in the mid lane. Team Vitality taking complete control back into their hands that was previously built by Smart Omega Empress.
Yeah, Shells right now has the most damage, like 2k up against Shinoa. She's playing this Claude, or rather she's playing this Clint like a Claude, right? Like she's just farming, and when it reaches this mid-game, she's just able to get that huge power spike, and you can see even the tankiest members of Smart Omega are just getting in a lot of the damage. Here comes the Lord, knocking in the base here of Smart Omega. You got Cine that has the Detona's Welcome, but the Detona's Welcome here from Keishi knocks in Vivian onto the base of Smart Omega. They still got the shields here, who is able to sustain Smart Omega to its fullest. They still got the Lord to melt down here. Smart Omega Empress, they're able to melt down that Lord as Vitality gonna be exerting a whole lot more pressure. They got in the mid inhibitor, and they're just gonna be backing away. It's respecting the damage as well.
Oh.
Right, gonna be able to go all the way in, and now Smart Omega, they're gonna have to back away from that. I'm not so sure what the idea was there. I think she was trying to go for shells, but instead you still have the final slash coming out from Fumi Echo. They can just get punished here by Team Vitality.
That was a huge mistake, and now Team Vitality, they're looking for the end.
Yep, oh no, Shells gets in, not Ayanami, and now Keishi and Amori left to defend in the base. Shells gets a double kill, but not enough time as they lock in the base. And Team Vitality will be able to take this series with a 2-0.
A clean 2-0, ladies and gentlemen, for Team Vitality in match number 1 against Smart Omega Empress. But